My younger brother succumbed to online bullying. The instigators, however, mocked him openly and covertly, claiming he lacked resilience. Later, when they found themselves trembling before my blade, I scoffed. I hope your fortitude proves to be more robust. That day, my brother had a day off, and I went to fetch him from school. On our way home, I stopped at a convenience store to purchase a few items. Upon my return, I discovered a crowd gathered by the artificial lake. My brother was soaked to the skin, struggling to pull a girl ashore. I was alarmed and hurriedly dropped my things to push through the crowd. Seeing the onlookers, my brother cast a hurried glance at me, exclaiming, "Sister, call an ambulance." He then began administering first aid to the girl. After the ambulance took her away, I finally exhaled in relief and couldn't help but punch my brother lightly, saying, "With so many adults around, why must you, a mere child, play the hero?" My brother dodged and pleaded. "With all those people, not a single one helped. That girl is my classmate. How could I stand idly by?" Having a kind heart is not a flaw, so I refrained from further reprimanding him. I believed the matter was settled, but just a few days later, a video of my brother rescuing her circulated online. I initially thought it would be met with praise. To my utter disbelief, the comment section was inundated with insults. Such a young age and yet such a vile mind. Truly disgusting. What on earth happened? Upon revisiting the video description, I discovered that the rescued girl claimed her brother had deliberately groped her chest during the first aid and extended his tongue during artificial respiration. I felt as though struck by lightning. My parents have long passed away, and I raised my younger brother. In my early years, I entered society at a young age to earn a living, struggling through the chaotic lower strata for a decade before establishing a bar. My brother is exceptionally understanding and has never caused me trouble. He recognizes my busy schedule and has chosen to reside at school. He consistently ranks first in his class during exams and even uses his competition winnings to buy me gifts. The video angle obscured my brother's actions, leading almost everyone to believe the allegations. Yet, I remained unconvinced. Just as I intended to head to the school, the teacher called me first, informing me that my brother had been injured in a fight at school and was taken to the hospital. Hastily, I rushed to the hospital, only to find my brother lying on the bed, his face marred by injuries. Upon seeing me, he remained silent for a moment before uttering the words, "I didn't." I understood he was attempting to clarify the incident of misconduct, and my heart ached, rendering me speechless. All I could do was hold his hand tightly, saying, "Sister knows." The teacher, standing outside, approached with a smile upon noticing me. "Sister Chen Yan, it was merely a minor conflict among classmates. I firmly insisted on reviewing the surveillance footage." The teacher rolled her eyes, but ultimately led me back to the school. After viewing the footage, I was left trembling uncontrollably. After the evening study session, my younger brother was dragged into the stairwell, where he was relentlessly kicked by a succession of boys, each taking their turn until exhaustion set in. There are at least 12 boys captured on the surveillance footage. The teacher claimed that after the video of Chen Yan allegedly molesting Lin Meng surfaced, these boys could no longer stand idly by and resorted to violence. Although their method of seeking justice was somewhat extreme, it stemmed from Chen Yan's initial wrongdoing. I glared coldly at him. "On what grounds do you accuse my brother of molestation?" The teacher, intimidated by my gaze, took a step back, but defiantly replied, "Lin Meng is an exemplary student from the neighboring class. Why would she fabricate such a story? Indeed, why would she lie? I wish to inquire of her. I will prosecute these students for intentional injury, leaving no one unaccounted for." Having said this, I turned to leave, but the teacher hastily called out behind me, "Chen Yan's sister, this is unnecessary. Lin Meng suffered some aftereffects after her near drowning and has been hospitalized ever since. Coincidentally, she is at the same hospital as my brother. When I found her lying in bed watching a show, I tried to maintain my composure and asked her about her perception of my brother's alleged misconduct during her state of unconsciousness that day. Lin Meng's demeanor was dismissive. She evaded my questions throughout. It was not that she claimed to have forgotten, rather, she seemed uncertain, as if to suggest it might have happened that way. Yet, with just a few careless words, she pushed my brother into an abyss. Did my brother err in attempting to save someone? Did he rescue a beast? I trembled with rage, unable to contain myself, and seized her by the collar. "Think carefully before you speak. Go say it online." Lin Meng burst into tears. Before long, her parents and the medical staff arrived, forcefully dragging me out of the ward while hurling insults. I could not absorb a single word. My brother's injuries necessitated hospitalization, yet I felt that the psychological scars were far more severe than the physical ones. He had become taciturn, often unable to sleep through the night. At times, he would awaken from nightmares, crying out, "It wasn't me, I didn't do it." All I could do was hold him tightly. My heart ached immensely. The online outcry against my brother escalated, with his school, class, and dormitory number being exposed, followed by an influx of images. His desk and chair were slashed with a knife, the surface marred with the word pervert scrawled in bold letters. I and the dormitory. His bedding was drenched in soup and cola, and all his personal belongings were tossed into a trash heap. Those individuals, under the guise of ridding society of evildoers, reveled in trampling upon my brother's dignity. The internet erupted in applause, hailing them as heroes. The psychologist advised that it would be best to keep my brother away from the internet for the time being, so I feigned concern for his eyes and took away his phone. My brother was fully aware of everything. He did not utter a single question, merely perused the martial arts novels I had purchased for him, smiling as he said, "Sis, after my college entrance examination, let's go on a trip. I want to visit a distant place. Anywhere is fine." I filed a lawsuit against those perpetrators, but since several of the boys were minors and my brother had retaliated, the police deemed it mutual combat and suggested we resolve the matter privately. The following day, one of the boys, Wu Feng, boasted in a live stream, "I'm not afraid at all, my uncle works at the police station. Besides, I stand against injustice. I'll hit scum like Chen Yan every time I see them." The barrage of comments erupted in applause. Indeed, the blogger is right. Beat that beast to death. Such a disgusting male is truly revolting. Chen Yan should die. A few days later, Lin Meng also released a video, tearfully addressing the camera. "I'm sorry, I was unconscious at the time. It might have been an illusion. I really can't remember. Please stop pressuring me." Upon the release of this video, a new wave of turmoil swept across the internet. Netizens captured screenshots of Lin Meng's expression, speculating that she had been threatened. Thus, another round of insults and condemnations directed at my brother ensued. That day, as I entered the hospital, I spotted my brother staring blankly at a phone. A woman clad in a hospital gown stood by his bedside, pointing and berating him. "You little beast. You might as well be dead. Why are you still alive?" I forcefully pushed her aside and snatched the phone from his hands. The screen was filled with vitriolic comments directed at my brother. In a fit of rage, I hurled the phone to the ground and glared fiercely at the woman. "Get lost!" The elderly woman, both furious and frightened, shouted as she stormed out of the ward. "Oh dear, this is truly outrageous. That little deviant sister smashed my phone and even threatened to hit me. It's no wonder their family is so dysfunctional. I can only imagine they were suffocated to death by this brother-sister duo." My heart surged with indignation. I cast a glance back at my younger brother, who was gazing out of the window, his once proud posture now hunched over. It seemed as though he might shatter at any moment. With a stoic expression, I stepped outside to make a call. "Hello, Menga? It's me, Chen Qingyun. I need your assistance with something." I leveraged my connections to ensure someone guarded the entrance of the ward, to prevent my brother from enduring further distress. I must restore my brother's honor. The young man named Wu Feng had garnered a vast following through his previous live stream, amassing hundreds of thousands of fans on a certain video platform. I sifted through all his statements on social media and discovered that he seemed to possess some pertinent information. I infiltrated his fan group using a secondary account and engaged in conversation for 2 days before acquiring his personal WeChat. He inquired, "Hey beautiful, do you want to gain followers and earn money like I do?" I responded, "Indeed, brother. Your follower count is skyrocketing. I'm so envious." Wu Feng, flattered by my compliments, let his guard down. During our chat, he inadvertently disclosed that someone had captured video footage by the lake that day, showing that my brother had not laid a finger on Lin Meng. Suppressing my astonishment, I asked, "Then why won't you help him clear his name?" Wu Feng appeared puzzled. "Why should I help him clarify? Everyone is condemning him, and I have become the first to viciously attack him, live streaming to gain followers while the heat is high. Do you know how much I have earned these past few days? Not only will I not help him clarify, but I have also purchased quite a few of those who slander him." I trembled all over. This wretch. I hurriedly took screenshots of the chat records, preparing to consult a lawyer on how to clarify. Suddenly, a call came from Meng. "Qingyun, your brother, is in trouble. My brother has committed suicide. He secretly went to the balcony for some fresh air, and a passerby happened to recognize him. The bystanders cursed at him, demanding he jump down to atone for his sins. My brother leaped, plunging from the 7th floor. Standing outside the emergency room, my heart turned to ice. I am not a good person in the past. To make a living and support my brother, I have done terrible things, and it has been a long time since I last engaged in such actions. Yet, confronted with the blinding light of the emergency room, I have never felt such a murderous urge. The lawyer's plan arrived, and after a long silence, I asked, can they go to prison? Those who engage in online violence, those who lie, those who hire trolls. Can they go to prison? The lawyer fell silent as well. It's difficult. The evidence you provide can only accuse this Wu Feng of defamation, but he is young and based on past cases, he won't face severe punishment. Upon receiving the answer, I surprisingly felt a sense of relief. The law cannot impose punishment. Allow me to take over. As the school day concluded, I found myself parked in front of the 7th middle school. Students gradually exited, and Lin Meng followed closely behind Wu Feng. It appeared that a conflict had arisen between them, as Wu Feng suddenly pulled Lin Meng into an alley, and soon the sound of their argument echoed forth. Lin Meng screamed. He committed suicide. In a hushed tone, Wu Feng retorted, "Don't shout. His suicide has nothing to do with us. It is merely a reflection of his own frailty. What good does your outcry do now? Wasn't it you who first tarnished his name? I only wished to retaliate against him for rejecting my confession. My attempt to drown myself was also due to him. I was merely upset, but I never wished for him to die. Now that matters have escalated to this point, heed my advice. Let us procure another batch of hired voices. Remember last semester when you screamed upon seeing a cockroach in the girls' restroom? Did Chen Yan not rush in? We should retrieve that surveillance footage and claim that Chen Yan is a habitual offender who frequently enters the girls' restroom. Thus, even in death, he would be consumed by shame." Overwhelmed with fear, Lin Meng began to weep. Assuming she acquiesced, Wu Feng led her out of the alley. Wu Feng, clutching his phone, cursed, "Damn it, why can't I get a cab?" I halted my vehicle before them, masked, and inquired, "Care for a ride?" Wu Feng hesitated momentarily before opening the car door. Lin Meng mentioned that her home was just ahead, and she intended to walk back. I called out to her, "Hop in. I'm heading that way. It's no trouble and there's no charge." Lin Meng smiled at me as she entered the car. "Thank you, elder sister," she said. Gazing at her through the rearview mirror, I fixed her with an icy stare. "No gratitude is necessary. This is your due." Lin Meng was taken aback. Her eyes widened in alarm, and she shrieked, "It's you. Let me out. I want to get out." She frantically reached for the door handle, but the next instant, her body went limp. Wu Feng, seated beside her, had already succumbed to the effects of the sedative and was unconscious. I glanced at the two figures in the back seat, my expression devoid of emotion, as I drove towards the outskirts of town. When Lin Meng and Wu Feng regained consciousness, it was night. The abandoned factory was unlit. I sat before them, perusing the chat logs on their phones, their conversations with family members, and I could only feel a sense of irony. Wu Feng had been messaging his younger sister that afternoon, urging her to return home promptly after her supplementary lessons and to avoid wandering about outside. Lin Meng, on the other hand, had been cajoling her elder brother for the latest smartphone model. They, too, had loved ones. How could they perpetrate such deeds? I couldn't fathom it. The dim light from the phone illuminated my face, rendering it a ghastly white. Wu Feng, who awoke first, was so terrified by the sight that he promptly fainted once more. Lin Meng stared at me with a sweat-drenched face, fearfully inching her bound form into the corner. Having dispatched missives to their respective guardians, I promptly roused Wu Feng with a deluge of water. He trembled involuntarily, uttering, "Who exactly are you? How much do you want?" Lin Meng stammered, "You imbecile. She is Chen Yan's sister. She has come for retribution. Do you comprehend?" Her voice paused abruptly, and she immediately approached me with a pitiable demeanor. Sister, I was wrong. It was improper of me to fabricate stories, but initially." No one heeded my words. It was him. She pointed towards Wu Feng, exclaiming, "He solicited reporters to interview me and procured a legion of online trolls. The escalation of events to this magnitude is entirely of his orchestration." Wu Feng was dumbfounded. In the subsequent instant, he surged forward, his hands bound. and delivered a forceful kick to Lin Meng's abdomen, vociferously cursing. "You wretched creature! You have wronged me." I seized a nearby wooden plank and struck Wu Feng aside with force. Then I dragged Lin Meng to the second floor of the factory, where my camera was set up. I positioned her in front of the lens, fixing my gaze upon her intently. "Speak the truth of the matter, exactly as it is. I demand my brother's innocence." Lin Meng was momentarily paralyzed by fear. Yet, she quickly regained her composure. Once she spoke, she too would face the wrath of the entire internet. She turned back, gazing at me in terror, and without a moment's hesitation, I grasped her hair, forcing her to the ground, the blade in my hand pressing against her carotid artery. To speak or to perish. I spoke. Lin Meng, with tears streaming down her face, gazed into the camera, her voice trembling as she recounted the entire ordeal. In school, she maintained the facade of a diligent student. Yet beneath the surface, she mingled with a group of wayward girls who had dropped out. One day, after classes, these girls spotted her younger brother at the school gate, inquiring if he was the school heartthrob. Succumbing to a moment of vanity, Lin Meng falsely claimed he was her boyfriend. Eventually, she did pursue him, but he rebuffed her advances. Unaware of her deception, the girls urged her to invite her brother out, yet she never once managed to do so. Feeling deceived, they confronted her by the lake that afternoon. In the ensuing altercation, Lin Meng was accidentally pushed into the water, and it was her brother who rescued her. Upon regaining consciousness, Lin Meng harbored resentment towards her brother for rejecting her confession, fearing that he might expose her clandestine activities with the other girls, smoking and drinking. Under the scrutiny of her parents, she shifted the conversation, accusing her brother of misconduct. Upon hearing this, a chilling wave washed over me, my hand trembling around the knife. Her brother, a model student with a kind disposition, had never been in conflict with anyone. I could even envision the embarrassment and guilt on his face when he turned her down. All because of her ridiculous need for pride. She sought to ruin such a good person. I struck Lin Meng across the face, a frigid disdain glimmering in my eyes. "You had better pray that my brother remains unharmed." This 2-minute video was released in the dead of night. I waited anxiously, yet no one seemed to notice. However, come 6 o'clock the following day, the viewership surged inexplicably. The internet erupted, a shocking twist. Is that male student innocent? My goodness, how malevolent is that girl? I heard that boy committed suicide. Is it true? I apologize for having previously criticized Chen Yan. Did anyone notice her background? Why does she look so terrified? Where is this? Is she all right? Lin Meng's parents, upon learning of their daughter's abduction, were distraught and frantically reported to the police. The authorities swiftly traced the incident back to me, yet aside from my brother, who lay in the hospital, they could find no trace of me. That very afternoon, I uploaded another video using Wu Feng's account. In the video, he was suspended from the ceiling, pleading for mercy. I was wrong. I should not have hired online trolls to defame him. Everything I said was false. Help me. Help. The moment this video was released, it sparked fervent discussions. As the number of likes continued to rise, Wu Feng and Oppo's complexion grew increasingly pale. I gazed at him coldly and remarked, "Did you not revel in these accolades? The more likes they accumulate, the longer you shall dangle here. I wish you the best of luck." With that, I turned on my heel and strode away. Wu Feng and Lin Meng were suspended in 2 separate, confined rooms, blinded by black cloth and rendered deaf by soundproof earplugs. During my time working in an underground casino, I often employed similar methods to deal with gamblers who failed to settle their debts. They were deprived of sight and sound, and it typically took less than a day for them to unravel. Lin Meng and Wu Feng, trapped in their respective chambers, wailed in despair. "Please, I implore you. Spare me. Do not leave. What are your intentions? Mother, save me. I am so terrified." What a voice full of vigor. Yet, my younger brother now lies in the intensive care unit, teetering between life and death. I sit in the vast factory, listening to their cries for help. Initially believing that the injustices surrounding my brother would soon be vindicated. However, I was utterly unprepared for the sudden shift in public sentiment online. An account published an article asserting that Lin Meng's and Wu Feng's statements were all coerced by me, claiming that I had employed every possible means to exonerate my brother, thereby reinforcing the notion that he was, indeed, a miscreant. The article meticulously analyzed the micro-expressions of Lin Meng and Wu Feng, alleging that their words were mere fabrications uttered under my duress. To substantiate his claims, the author released a video. In the footage, my brother is seen reading in a school corridor when, after a moment's hesitation, he tentatively enters the girls' restroom. The accompanying caption reads, "This Chen Yan is nothing but a habitual offender, a pervert who lurks around the girls' restroom at school." In an instant, the online community turned against us. Accusations flew towards my brother and me. What is wrong with this brother-sister duo? Instead of reflecting on their mistakes, they resort to kidnapping. A blight on society. They deserve to rot in prison. I heard that Chen Yan committed suicide. Is it because he couldn't and oppose? He bear the guilt? He got what he deserved. I silently watched the video 3 times before rising to kick open Wu Feng's iron door. The resounding crash startled him. I lowered him down and dragged him straight to the water bucket, forcefully submerging him until he could barely catch his breath before pulling him out. Lin Meng screamed for help upon spotting a cockroach in the women's restroom. Who possesses the surveillance footage of my brother entering? Wu Feng, terrified, wet his pants and stammered. Jiang Mingyu. Who is Jiang Mingyu? He shares a class with Chen Yan. Wu Feng paused for a moment, suddenly struck by a thought, and exclaimed, Chen Yan was present when Lin Meng performed artificial respiration. It was he who recorded the video that he later shared with me. Without his involvement, I would never have imagined orchestrating an online attack using hired trolls. He is related to the head of the teaching staff and had previously mentioned his ability to acquire the surveillance footage from the women and Oppo's restroom. Sister, please confront him. I truly regret my actions, and I implore you to spare me. I endeavored to compose myself, pushing aside Wu Feng. Just as I was about to step outside, I received a call from Brother Meng. Qingyun, have you seen the comments online? My heart raced. Is something wrong with my brother? Meng replied that just moments ago, several individuals had stormed into the hospital, demanding to send my brother to hell, but fortunately, they were intercepted by the guarding police. There was silence on the other end of the phone for a while, and then Meng sighed. I understand that I cannot dissuade you at this moment. Pursue your desires as you see fit. Allow me to recommend a hacker who may be of assistance to you. My voice quivered slightly. Thank you, Meng. After hanging up the phone, I donned my hat and mask, stepping outside while evading surveillance. I drove to the entrance of the 7th high school. At this hour, the high school students had yet to be dismissed, and the nearby snack shop was eerily vacant, save for a young elementary school girl who sat inside, gazing vacantly out the glass window. I immediately recognized her as Wu Feng's sister. Her photograph resided in Wu Feng's phone. What brings you here? I inquired casually as I settled beside her with a few snacks. She responded with a hint of despondency. My brother didn't come home yesterday and hasn't messaged me. I'm waiting for him at his school. A cold smile graced my lips. Is your brother well? My brother is exceptionally kind. He enjoys watching cartoons with me and teaches me how to draw. I stared at her with a blank expression. Do online bullies and keyboard warriors have individuals they care about? If I were to present her before Wu Feng, he would undoubtedly shatter. Merely contemplating this brings me immense satisfaction. Suddenly, my phone buzzed. It was a message from the hacker known by the pseudonym Trial. Recommended by Meng. Jiang Mingyu is currently absent from Qizhong. He has taken a 2-day leave and is at home. His parents are not present. And here is his address and phone number. I turned off the screen and cast a cold gaze at Wu Feng's sister. After a moment, I leaned down and venomously whispered in her ear, Your brother is a wicked man. He has caused the demise of a truly wonderful individual. As I exited the snack shop, the terrified cries of a girl echoed behind me. Without glancing back, I drove to Jiang Mingyu's residence. From 3 in the afternoon until dusk, his home remained shrouded in darkness, indicating that Jiang Mingyu was acutely aware of the imminent danger he faced. Yet, given the bustling nature of the street, a direct approach was unfeasible. Once the crowd had thinned, I dialed his number. The call was swiftly answered. "Leave the takeout at the door." I replied calmly, "I am an officer from the Public Security Bureau, badge number 343245. The kidnapper involved in the case of the abducted student from the 7th high school may target you next. Your home is no longer safe. Please come downstairs immediately so we can implement protective measures at the station." I could hear Jiang Mingyu in a state of panic, hastily gathering his belongings. All right. I will be right down." Within 10 minutes, he emerged from his home, carrying a black bag. Without hesitation, he opened the car door and settled inside, releasing a deep sigh of relief. "Indeed, you officers are quite reliable, however." He leaned forward, scrutinizing me. "Are you all not required to wear police uniforms?" I glanced back at him, administering the sedative as I caught a glimpse of his terrified gaze. Now everyone was present. As I made my way back to the abandoned factory, a subtle sense of unease began to creep in. Upon entering, I discovered that Lin Meng and Wu Feng were nowhere to be found, and the ground was littered with severed ropes. What fortuitous luck! I wryly tugged at the corner of my mouth. It seemed that the conclusion was imminent. They would soon arrive with the police, leaving me with little time. I dragged Jiang Mingyu from the vehicle and shut the factory door. Just as I was about to pull him inside, 2 sharp knocks echoed from the iron gate. I held my breath, sensing an impending threat. Suddenly, I heard a girl's voice filled with confusion. "Ah, the door is unlocked." Shortly after, the door was pushed open, revealing a man and a woman, both adorned with masks, standing at the entrance, holding something in their hands. Upon closer inspection, my eyes widened in shock. They were dragging Lin Meng and Wu Feng. The young man carelessly tossed Wu Feng onto the ground, speaking in a nonchalant tone. "I've brought back 2 mice for you. No need to thank me." Seeing that I remained silent, the girl waved her hand. "We are here to assist you. Allow us to introduce ourselves. We are the judicators, tasked specifically with rectifying the legal oversights. This is Trial, the hacker that Meng has introduced to you." Trial, judicator. So, it was they. The boy casually dragged Wu Feng and Lin Meng inside, his tone nonchalant. "If it were not for me, your clumsy evasion techniques would have long been captured by various surveillance cameras. Furthermore, it was I who exposed that initial video of Lin Meng. Now, can you truly place your trust in us?" I turned and followed closely behind. "Thank you," said the young man named Lin Gray, while the young woman, Jiang He, quickly removed her mask to reveal her true face. I was taken aback. "No need for disguise anymore?" Jiang He inquired, her brow furrowing in confusion. I shook my head, and Jiang He promptly shrugged her shoulders. "That settles it." They expertly bound several individuals together. Just as I was about to interrogate Jiang Mingyu, Jiang He stopped me and said, "Do you understand why, despite Mingming's video admitting their mistakes, so many people remain skeptical?" I paused, gazing at her in bewilderment. Jiang He deftly set up a concealed camera within a secluded factory, subsequently ushering in Jiang Mingyu, Wu Feng, and Lin Meng. She closed the door and said, "Humans are inherently inclined towards conspiracy. However, the nature of clandestine recordings is distinctly different. The techniques employed in surreptitious filming often grant viewers a voyeuristic perspective, leading them to trust solely in what they have covertly observed." Lin Gui snapped his fingers. I turned to see him gesturing towards my phone. He had sent me a link, which led to a live broadcast featuring Jiang Mingyu and his companions, who were gradually regaining consciousness. Within a minute, the streaming room was inundated with tens of thousands of viewers. What is this? A scripted murder mystery? An escape room? Wait, Aran and Oppos. Those the 2 students who went missing recently? Now they and Oppos. V captured 3. Goodness. The kidnappers are live streaming? They certainly have audacity. Let me share this live link in our class group. This is exhilarating. What on earth are they trying to achieve? Doesn't anyone find this terrifying? In the room, upon seeing Wu Feng and Lin Meng, Jiang Mingye immediately realized his predicament. His upper body was completely bound, and in a state of alarm, he surveyed his surroundings, only to erupt in furious inquiry. "Am I bound because of you?" Wu Feng, who had not eaten for 2 days and endured such prolonged mental torment, now lay in the corner, letting out a cold snort. "Did you provoke that madman outside by using the footage from the women's restroom? Otherwise, how could she have grabbed you?" Jiang Mingyu fell silent. However, Wu Feng suddenly erupted in madness. "It's all your fault. You were the one who told me that if the situation escalated, the person who first imposed sanctions on Chen Yan would undoubtedly become famous. That's why I sought out people to assault him and hired online trolls to incite cyberbullying. It's all because of you." Jiang Mingyu's glasses shattered into pieces as he gazed at Wu Feng with an indifferent expression. "Are you blaming me now? At that time, I merely mentioned it to you. I never urged you to take action. When you were lauded across the internet, why didn't you say it was my fault?" The tone of malicious glee thoroughly infuriated Wu Feng. He dragged his weary body upright and charged fiercely at Jiang Mingyu. However, Jiang Mingyu possessed far superior stamina at this moment, quickly turning the encounter into a one-sided domination. Just as Wu Feng was being beaten, his body suddenly froze. For a chilling male voice resonated in his ears. "Ask Jiang Mingyu why he intends to harm Chen Yan?" He was utterly unaware of when the small earpiece had been discreetly inserted into his ear. For a moment, he was taken aback. I coldly gazed at the screen, took the microphone from Lin Gui's hand, and spoke expressionlessly. "I saw your sister today. She is truly adorable." Wu Feng's pupils constricted sharply. He kicked Jiang Mingyu away with a swift motion, gasping for breath as he retreated to the corner. Striving to steady his voice as he spoke, "There is no meaning in our fighting here." Jiang Mingyu scoffed disdainfully and also took a seat. Wu Feng paused momentarily and inquired, "Has Chen Yan offended you? Why do you seek to frame him?" Jiang Mingyu was taken aback by the words, averting his gaze. "He has not wronged you. You are, however, a key player in the realm of online harassment. Ah, you are quite different from me, young master. Who doesn't know that your family is affluent, your academic performance exemplary, and that you're the darling of the teachers? You are making things difficult for Chen Yan. He must have offended you in some way, right?" As Jiang Mingyu remained silent, Wu Feng began to feel a cold sweat trickle down his back and started to incite further. "There are only a few of us here, and yet you dare not speak. Your timidity is truly remarkable." Jiang Mingyu glanced around. Indeed, apart from him, there were only Wu Feng and Lin Meng. Lin Meng lay on the ground, staring blankly at the ceiling, lost in her thoughts. Jiang Mingyu let out a self-deprecating laugh. "Is there a need for a reason to dislike someone?" Jiang Mingyu came from a privileged family. From a young age, his parents had high expectations for him, and he excelled academically, basking in the admiration and attention of those around him. However, everything changed once he entered high school. After the results of the first monthly exam were released, he confidently approached the ranking board, only to find himself in second place, with a boy named Chen Yan occupying the top spot. Initially, he believed it to be a fluke, yet with each subsequent exam, Chen Yan consistently claimed the highest rank. Standing before the leaderboard, Jiang Mingyu felt an unprecedented surge of jealousy as accolades that once belonged to him were now bestowed upon Chen Yan. If Chen Yan hailed from a wealthy family and attended tutoring sessions daily, it would have been somewhat acceptable. Yet, he came from a modest background and could not afford private tutoring. What set him apart was his unwavering diligence. He truly worked hard. On one occasion, before a significant examination, Jiang Mingyu intentionally approached him, boasting about the latest gaming console and a newly released manga series, inviting him to join in the fun. He hoped to distract Chen Yan with temptations that no teenage boy could resist. However, at that moment, Chen Yan merely looked up from his exercises and offered a shy smile in response. "Thank you, but I have not yet completed my problem set." After much persuasion from him, Chen Yan visited once. During that visit, Chen Yan was indeed filled with joy, his gaze fixated on the screen of the game. Jiang Mingyu initially thought he would become addicted, yet to his surprise, when Chen Yan finally set down the controller, he exhibited no lingering attachment. Instead, he retrieved a set of exercises from his bag and inquired if they could discuss a particular mathematical problem. Jiang Mingyu felt as though he might lose his mind. With Chen Yan present, others could never see him. His parents perpetually frowned at the report card, questioning why he could not secure even a single first place. When faced with exceptionally challenging problems, teachers always turned to Chen Yan as their first choice. The girls who secretly observed from outside the classroom consistently directed their attention toward Chen Yan. Jiang Mingyu was unwilling to accept this. After all, everything had once belonged to him. If Chen Yan were absent, all of it would revert to him. When Lin Ming's message surfaced online, Jiang Mingyu keenly sensed that this was his opportune moment to topple Chen Yan from his pedestal. Thus, he instigated events, exploiting Lin Ming and Oppo's timidity, hypocrisy, and Wu Feng and Oppo's avarice. He gradually propelled Chen Yan towards despair while distancing himself from the consequences. However, with the turn of events online, Jiang Mingyu feared that Chen Yan might emerge unscathed and return to school, further enhancing his reputation as a hero. He realized that this would only render him increasingly insignificant. In a reckless act, he posted online, inadvertently revealing his own identity. Separated by a mere wall, I stood trembling outside the door. Why is it that my brother, who studies diligently, avoids early romantic entanglements, and acts with valor, has found himself ensnared in this perilous predicament? Jiang Mingyu's obsessive and frenzied accusations rendered the live broadcast room engulfed in silence. So, out of jealousy, he has ruined a life. Good heavens. He is truly terrifying. I can only assert that none of these three are worth anything. What wrong has Chen Yan committed? Is it a fault to study earnestly? Is it a fault to act heroically? Even if the perpetrator behind the abduction of these three scoundrels is Chen Yan's sister, I would offer my unwavering support. Support the sister. Restore my brother's innocence. Meanwhile, chaos has erupted within the police precinct. The number of kidnapped individuals has escalated to 3, with all technical personnel diligently tracking and locating based on the clues from the live broadcast. Yet, hope remains elusive. The IP address has been encrypted, making it exceedingly difficult to decipher, even for an ordinary hacker. Upon arriving at the police station, Jiang Mingyu's parents carelessly scattered the documents on the table, exclaiming in exasperation, "You are a bunch of inept individuals. Unable to locate anyone even now. What use are you?" The supervisor turned and kicked a chair in frustration. The police station fell into a profound silence. The supervisor, gritting his teeth, pointed a warning finger at the two of them. "First, focus on educating your own children before attempting to instruct me on my duties. This is not a venue for you to flaunt your authority. You may continue to obstruct official proceedings, but rest assured, it is not my son who is bound." The parents of the Jiang family turned pale, watching the person in charge tremble for an extended period, ultimately leaving in tears and commotion. The officers exchanged glances, each one giving a thumbs up to the person in charge. Taking a deep breath, the person in charge said, "This case is far from straightforward. The method of live streaming bears a striking resemblance to the 2 abduction cases involving the judges in the neighboring Qingyun. Accelerate the address decryption." The next day, as I dragged the steel pipe into the room, Lin Gui terminated the live broadcast. "Jiang," he kindly reminded, "remember to leave a life." I stepped into the abyss of darkness, gazing down upon the 3 instigators, slowly revealing a smile. "You claim that a Yan's endurance is lacking. Now let me observe the extent of your own resilience." Wu Feng and Lin Ming's faces turned ashen, beads of cold sweat trickling down as they frantically retreated. Only Jiang Mingyu fixed his gaze upon me, dismissively stating, "You seize me merely to restore your brother's innocence, do you not? Allow me to assure you, should you dare to lay a finger on me, I shall never lend my support as a witness in his favor." Before he could finish his words, I delivered a swift kick to his face. Subsequently, I firmly grasped his hair and pressed his head against the ground, rubbing it mercilessly. "No, you misunderstand. I do not wish for you to assist him in proving it," I murmured. "I want you to become as unfortunate as he is." Jiang Mingyu's face was half ruined, and at this moment, he stared at me with eyes wide open, desperately pleading for help. Help! Help! Is there anyone who can rescue me? I was wrong. I apologize. I am willing to testify on his behalf. I implore you to spare me. I am the same age as your younger brother. I have yet to reach 18. You cannot ruin me. I responded with a cold laugh. My younger brother is even younger than you. Have you spared him? I unleashed a flurry of punches upon his face. Jiang Mingyu wept bitterly, his cries gradually diminishing until they fell silent. After he lost consciousness, I discarded him between Wu Feng and Lin Meng, who began to plead for mercy in a state of sheer terror. I scoffed, none of you will escape. I discovered a video on Jiang Mingyu's phone, clearly capturing my brother administering first aid to Lin Meng without any hint of impropriety. Uploading the video online ignited quite a commotion. Suddenly, Brother Meng called, revealing that my brother's condition was critical. He had undergone 3 emergency resuscitations overnight, and it was uncertain whether he would survive. My mind went blank as I staggered outside. The hospital was under full police control, and I could only catch a distant glimpse. My brother had always been strong, never crying when he fell, and even in sickness. He would smile to reassure me not to worry. This time, please be strong once more. Many people gathered at the hospital entrance, holding flowers and unfurling a banner that read, "We hope little hero Chen Yan pulls through." The wind howled, and tears slowly streamed down my face. How ironic it is. Yesterday, my brother was berated, and today he has become a hero. The internet can be a frightening place, capable of dragging a person into the depths of despair, only to elevate them to the heights of glory. I cast a cold glance at them, and as I turned to leave, I noticed an elderly woman clad in a hospital gown seated in the courtyard, weeping as she held her family's hands. I truly never anticipated that the truth of the matter would be like this. At that time, I stormed into his hospital room to berate him. Now, whenever I think back on it, I am overwhelmed with regret, my heart aching terribly. What a wonderful child he was. How could he have suffered such a fate? I owe an apology to those 2 siblings. This was the very woman who had burst into the hospital room, pointing her finger at the younger brother in anger. At this moment, she clutched her chest, more heartbroken than I was. I found it somewhat amusing. Although Wu Feng, who incited public sentiment, is undeniably detestable, those who merely follow the tide are never blameless. Let them repent. It would be best for them to live a lifetime burdened by guilt. I shall never forgive. I sat in the car by the roadside from dawn until dusk, awaiting news from Brother Meng. Qingyun, please accept my condolences. I was momentarily taken aback, and after a pause, I replied, understood. After putting down my phone, I pressed the accelerator with fervor, heading towards the factory on the outskirts. However, upon arrival, I was met with the sight of 7 or 8 police cars stationed at the entrance. Undeterred, I descended with a knife in hand, when suddenly, a vehicle screeched to a halt before me, and Jiang he flung open the door. Come up quickly. I feigned ignorance and continued to move forward. Suddenly, a sharp pain shot through my neck, and in the next moment, I lost consciousness. When I awoke again, I found myself in an unfamiliar basement, with Lin Gui and Jiang he seated before me. The police suddenly approached, and it was unavoidable that you were left disoriented. I beg your understanding. I sat there, my expression devoid of emotion. What about them? Rescued. The air grew still. It felt as though all my strength had been abruptly siphoned away, leaving me unable to endure any longer. I collapsed, burying my face in my arms, weeping uncontrollably. Lin Gui and Jiang he exchanged no words, as if they had grown accustomed to such scenes. Indeed, they were formidable, even a week after Jiang Mingyu and the others were saved. The police had yet to uncover any leads regarding me. Brother Meng, at my behest, laid my brother to rest in a secluded cemetery. Each night, as I closed my eyes, visions of my brother encircling me, calling me sister, flooded my mind. It seemed I had suddenly lost the will to continue living. Each day passed like that of a living corpse. The verdict for the defamation and insult case involving Jiang Mingyu, Lin Meng, and Wu Feng, which led to a tragic suicide, was finally rendered. Lin Meng and Wu Feng, being of age and due to the severity of their actions, were sentenced to 2 years in prison. However, Jiang Mingyu, exploiting a loophole and being a minor, received only an 8-month sentence. That day I stood on the rooftop, feeling that life held no meaning. I thought it would be better to join my brother. Just as I was about to take that step, Jiang He's voice suddenly resonated behind me. "Are you content?" I turned to gaze at her. Jiang He wore a frigid expression. "Are you satisfied with this punishment?" I chuckled. "What difference does it make to be dissatisfied?" Jiang He raised the corner of her mouth. "To ruin a person does not necessarily require the use of violence. Jiang Mingyu is an individual consumed by jealousy. He will drag himself into the abyss, and our task is merely to assist him in discovering the path to that very hell." I was indeed unwilling to concede. What harm is there in waiting an additional 8 months? 8 months later, Jiang Mingyu's parents took him away from the city to a distant coastal town. In an effort to shed his identity as a criminal, he adopted a new name and underwent cosmetic surgery. He re-enrolled in high school, where he immediately excelled, securing the top position. I had sat countless times in the staff at the entrance of their school, watching him emerge with a beaming smile, his teachers patting him on the shoulder with expressions of pride, surrounded by numerous friends. He appeared truly joyful in this new environment. He had reinvented himself and once again captured the attention of all, attaining everything he desired. But did any of this come with my consent? A month later, Lin Gui transferred to his school, joining the same class. In the first monthly examination, Lin Gui surpassed Jiang Mingyu, taking the top spot. Jiang Mingyu was taken aback. He began to study obsessively, attending extra classes, yet he was consistently outperformed by Lin Gui. Jiang Mingyu was on the brink of madness, however. He was fortunate to have many friends. As long as he could incite them to ostracize Lin Gui, surely he could not maintain such impressive grades. One afternoon, Jiang Mingyu deliberately ordered coffee for his classmates, intending to speak ill of Lin Gui. Little did he expect that the companions who had always treated him warmly would now regard him with peculiar glances, shunning him as if he were a venomous serpent. He intercepted his most skilled friend and inquired, "I have brought you coffee. Why do you not drink it?" The person disdainfully recoiled from his hand, frowning. "Drink by yourself. I still have to go play basketball with Lin Gui." Jiang Mingyu suddenly realized that something must have gone awry. He stifled a laugh and inquired, "What is it? Why so serious? Have I offended you in some way?" The other party looked at him with a face full of disdain. "I remarked on how awkwardly you write your name every time. It turns out that is not your real name. You are actually called Jiang Mingyu, are you not? You even caused a death and served time in prison." Jiang Mingyu's mind buzzed. He staggered a few steps, his face ashen. Impossible, this cannot be true. He no longer resembled his former self, so how could they know? Where had things gone awry? Jiang Mingyu could never have anticipated that he would be the one ostracized by everyone. They looked at him with disdainful gazes, referring to him as a murderer in his presence. No one was willing to sit at the same table with him, and even during meals, they kept their distance. During a break, he suddenly discovered the words murderer crudely carved into his desk with a knife. This brought to mind the plight of Chen Yan, who, when vilified online, had his desk and chair defaced with the word pervert by his classmates, facing incessant ridicule at school. So this is what it feels like to endure such torment. Among the entire class, only Lin Gui refrained from mocking him. Observing Lin Gui surrounded by admirers, a thought struck Jiang Mingyu. If he could reclaim the top position, would they not once again revere him as before? Surely they would. Lin Gui had installed surveillance cameras in the classroom. I watched it every day as if I were indulging in a dramatic series. He spent a considerable amount of time lamenting why Lin Gui, despite his ability to create stylish hairstyles, still chose to sport that unflattering fringe and black-rimmed glasses in her presence. When she expressed this, she momentarily resembled a typical student. I chuckled softly. Perhaps they do not wish to appear overly unapproachable. Jiang, he paused momentarily. What? When Lin Gui removed his glasses and trimmed his bangs, he undeniably appeared quite handsome, yet he also exuded a colder demeanor. I believe he retains those unattractive features to prevent you from fearing him as well. Jiang, he scoffed disdainfully. Who fears him? She continued to immerse herself in her typing. I glanced over with curiosity. What are you writing? Novel, my side hustle. I cast a glance at the title of the novel, The Chronicles of the Judge. I had encountered this book before on my brother's mobile bookshelf. The sensation was peculiar, as if an unseen connection had long existed between us. My younger brother is also captivated by your book, but regrettably, he has yet to witness the conclusion. Jiang, he paused, her fingertips lingering momentarily. She lifted her gaze to meet mine. Would you mind if I included him in the narrative? I wished to grant him a fulfilling conclusion. At the end of the story, the young man is accepted into a prestigious university and travels to numerous places with his sister. They capture memories together at each location, reclaiming the essence of life. My eyes glistened with emotion. Thank you. After Lin Gui secured first place in the final exam, Jiang Mingyu could no longer remain still. Intentionally, he positioned himself directly across from Lin Gui during mealtime, fortunate that Lin Gui did not seem averse to his presence. After a moment of hesitation, Jiang Mingyu feigned nonchalance and spoke up. Do you enjoy playing games? I have the latest gaming console at home. Would you like to come and play? Lin Gui, however, merely regarded him with a smile that was neither fully cheerful nor entirely dismissive. Jiang Mingyu felt a flutter of anxiety. At last, Lin Gui shook his head and remarked, None of this holds any significance. What do you find intriguing? Forget it, you lack the skill. Lin Gui uttered dismissively before turning to leave. But Jiang Mingyu hurriedly caught up with him. Do share your thoughts. Perhaps I might join you in your endeavors, Lin Gui said with a playful smile. He led Jiang Mingyu to a motorcycle track where they raced along the winding mountain roads. Then, in a feigned display of distress, he removed his helmet before him. A solitary pursuit lacks allure. Who would desire to delve into those tedious tomes if accompanied by a companion? An effulgent spark of excitement ignited in Jiang Mingyu's eyes. At long last, he had discovered the key to ensnare Lin Gui's interest. Once he became enraptured by the thrill of racing, his academic endeavors would surely wane. Jiang Mingyu cast a glance at the motorcycle, resolutely committing himself to the plan. 2 weeks later, the news of Jiang Mingyu plummeting off a cliff while riding astonished the entire school. It was said that a life was saved. Yet he was left with the high-level paralysis, condemned to a life confined to a hospital bed. Meanwhile, Lin Gui quietly withdrew from his studies. Did you tamper with the motorcycle? Lin Gui shrugged. Do you still require my assistance? Jiang, he explained from the side. He, driven by an insatiable desire for quick success, had yet to master the art of turning skillfully, yet dared to confront such a formidable road. The weather that day was inclement, with low visibility. It was only a matter of time before he encountered a mishap, though he did not anticipate it would occur so swiftly. The malevolent fruits sown by humanity will ultimately be consumed by themselves. No matter how arduous or unbearable it may be, one must endure, for this is retribution. I gazed at the news on my phone, unable to articulate the tumult of emotions within me. It was said that Lin Meng and Wu Feng were both experiencing a decline in their mental well-being. Wu Feng's sister, upon hearing his name, wept uncontrollably, branding him a villain. Is it truly over? It seems as though it has come to an end. What then should I do next? Suddenly, a familiar voice resonated from behind me. Hello, I turned around, and Jiang, he extended her hand towards me. There are many individuals in this world akin to your younger brother who perish in obscure corners, unnoticed, while the perpetrators revel in the brightness of the sun. We aspire to drive those rats back to the stinking sewers. Would you care to join us? The end.